Hello everybody, welcome to part 6 of the creepy smoky logo tutorial that I put together. This is Buddy Blackford and we are using After Effects CS6. And today we are having like a major hot and humid heat wave again, which seems to be a recurring theme every time I decide to make some tutorials, but I'm gonna bear through it and just push on through the tutorial. And seriously, I'm just sitting here and I'm not doing anything except for talking, and I'm still sweating, and it sucks. But let's do this. In the last tutorial, we added some effects onto our text and made it crawly and made it cool looking. So this time, we're going to add a reveal, so it doesn't just sit there. So what I decided to do is use a particle system within After Effects to make a smoke cloud that comes rushing across and reveals the text. If you want to do a different way, like a fade on or anything like that, that's also awesome. You can just animate the opacity. But I'm going to show you how to use a particle system and reveal your text that way. So let's get started. The first thing you need to do is create a new layer, and it's going to be a solid. So new solid. We're gonna call this smoke cloud or something to that effect, and I'm gonna make it like this color gray, just so I have a different kind of color right there. The color isn't gonna matter because we're going to put a particle system on it. So let's go to Effect, and I think it's Simulation, and then CC Particle World. And what happens is it gives you a new particle system, and this is already 3D, as you can tell by this little cube box here. So we don't need to turn on the 3D box here, and we don't need a camera or anything like that. So let's see, First, I like to get rid of all of this visual cues and stuff like that that I have on there. So I toggle down the grids and guides, and I uncheck these boxes here. I want the grid off, and then horizon can be off, and axis box can be off. So I don't like having all that stuff in my way. I know what's going on, and this is pretty much just a 2D view anyways. I'm not going to do anything really in the Z-axis. We can toggle that back up, and now we can come down to the producer here, toggle that down, the particle here, and we'll toggle that down. I think we're going to mess with the particle first so we don't have this kind of stuff. I'm going to put, it's on half right now, I'm going to put this down to third. It's going to look a little crappy, but then I'll switch back and forth so you can see how nice it looks and whatever. So this is what you start off with, and I don't know why they start off with this. It looks like junk, but let's go a few frames in, or a few seconds in maybe. About, yeah, let's stay at 2 seconds, because then our particles are already on the screen. So we want to change the particle type here to faded sphere, which is right here. And what we're gonna do is get all these clumped together and then change them into a nice looking kind of cloud. Now we're gonna change the birth size here to 0.5 and the depth size to 0.75. Let's change our max opacity to 33. And we're going to change our colors here to some more smoky bluish colors. So let's change this one to like a dark bluish kind of color, like this. And then this one we can change to like a more of a bluish gray. Like something like this. So I'm gonna turn this back up to half so we can kind of see what's going on. You can kind of see the particles in there, so we're gonna have to put them together and make more of them. So first let's change this to screen for the composite, or for the transfer mode here. We can twirl up the particle section. We don't need that anymore. Let's change the birth rate up here to something like 45. See, now we got some more smoke going on here. And the longevity to 0.5 so they don't last forever. We can change the radiuses here, so it can be 0.3. This can be 0.1. And the radius Z can be 0 since we're not looking at this in 3D. Now let's go to the physics here. We can change the animation to direction axis. Change the velocity to 0.5. Let's see what we got here. Alright. Let's go back to where we can actually see stuff. I probably don't want this much gravity. Gravity pulls the particle system down. I'll go over this CC particle world more in depth in a new tutorial. That way we can just get through making it and you can see what it does in this tutorial. So let's set the gravity to 0. Now you see we got something that's just going straight across now. So, I mean, that looks pretty good for some quick smoke. We're going to make a rush across the screen, so it doesn't need to be perfect. And if you work in a studio or on a movie or something like that, you'll see that stuff isn't like really perfect in the movies. You just get it done, especially if it's really fast. So I think that we should throw a blur on here. So I'm going to throw on a fast blur. And if you don't want to mess with a whole lot of blur options, then fast blur just does basically blurriness and the way it goes. So let's do that looks good. It's going to rush across the screen, so so we want it to be a little blurry. And now all we really have to do is animate the smoke coming across. So we can do that in the producer thing. Yep, producer. And if we hit the stopwatch on position X, and let's move ahead maybe 1 second here. Let's hit the let's go into our smoke cloud properties so we can edit keyframes, and press U to bring up the keyframeable, or the properties that we have keyframed. Let's hit another keyframe here. Now it's built up. The smoke is already built up. So if we click on the layer, the red part of the layer here, and drag it so that it's already built up at the start of the scene, like this. That way we don't have to wait for it. Now let's fix where the position is, which is going to be all the way off the screen. So like that. Right there, that's off the screen. Looks like negative 2.09. And then let's make it rush across the screen. We can test to see if this is fast or slow enough in a second. So that's 3.17 for me. Let's render it. Let's drag this out so it's all the way there. Let's move the work area to like 2 seconds here, and then we'll see how fast it goes. I'm gonna save it before I RAM preview it so it doesn't crash if it wants to. Particle systems are intensive on your computer, so sometimes it may crash if you have a lot of stuff going on, so I always save right before. So RAM preview. This should be a fast RAM preview at least. See how fast it goes across. That seems pretty good. I think it's on there for too long, so I might want to decrease the Y radius. Don't really want it to be that much. So let's. No, that's not what I wanted. Not that one. What about this? Yeah. X radius. So actually I think we're gonna decrease the longevity a little bit. That way it's not so long, which makes sense. 0.35 maybe, and let's up the birth rate so it's a little more thicker. And let's see what that looks like. RAM preview. I think the speed is good. Might be able to make it a little slower, but speed's good. See what happens if we make it a little slower. And that's fine. There wasn't a whole lot of difference, but just make it to your preference. If you want it faster, make it faster. If you want it slower, just make it slower by dragging the keyframe back and forth. So we'll stick with that for now. That's our smoke coming across, and in the next part we're going to animate a mask on the title so that it reveals the title, and we're also going to do the same thing with the smoke that's going over top of the title, so it reveals that also, and all of it's going to just appear when the particle system goes across it. So I will see you guys in the next tutorial, and the next tutorial should be the final one, so we are close to finishing. So see you guys there.